Magandang araw Pilipinas at welcome sa special coverage ng ikatlong State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III. Ako po ang inyong makakasama, Attorney Mark Astrodes, na maghahatid ng kaganapan dito sa ating venue. We are live from the Batasang Pambansa at alam ko po marami kayong inaasahan ngayong araw tungkol sa kung ano ang masasabi ng Pangulo sa kanyang SONA dahil diyan nag-imbita tayo ng guests para tulungan tayong maintindihan ang mga kaganapan sa 2 taon. Sa mga pangako ng Pangulo, ano po kaya ang talagang natupad na? Ano po kaya ang naramdaman na ng ating mga kababayan? Tulungan nila tayong talakayin at analisahin ang mga programa ng pamahalaang Aquino. At para matulungan akong kausapin ang ating guest at ihatid sa inyo live ang mga kaganapan sa araw na ito, let us welcome the Congresswoman of the 4th District of the Province of Leyte, Congresswoman Lucy Torres Gomez.
Good afternoon, Mark. Same time as last year.
Same time. And there is no bigger event in government than the SONA, no? Para malaman natin where are we going?
Where we were, where we are going. So a lot of things to look forward to this afternoon.
Oo. At Lucy, makakasama din natin some of our friends who are in strategic areas of the Pambansa. At the rear entrance of the Batasang Pambansa, naroon ang ating kasamang si Snow Badwa. Snow, ano ang kaganapan sa rear entrance ng Batasan?
Magandang hapon sa iyo, Representative Lucy. At ito po, just a few minutes ago, mga 2 minutes ago, ay pumwesto na po yung ating Presidential Honor Guard, 27-man Honor Guard mula po sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, na siya pong isa ho sa mga grupo na magwe-welcome mo sa Pangulong Benigno Aquino III sa kanya pong pagdating dito po sa may rear entrance. At sa unang 2 taon po nating pag-cover sa Pangulong Aquino ay malimit po, mas maaga siya ng around 20 minutes dun po sa kanyang estimated time of arrival. At sa ngayon po mga kaibigan ay talagang maaliwalas po yung panahon, hindi po mainit, hindi po umuulan, talagang tamang-tama, banayad na banayad lamang ho para doon sa pag-welcome po natin sa entourage ng Pangulo. Samantala, kanina po nagbigay rin ng pahayag si Presidential Spokesman Edwin La Sierda na magiging truthful and inspiring. Yan po ang kanyang ibinigay na hint sa magiging State of the Nation address ng Pangulo. Yan po muna ang report ko sa inyo mga boss namin. Mula po dito sa rear entrance, balik sa iyo, Attorney Mark and Representative Lucy.
Maraming salamat kasamang Snow Badwa. Lucy, makakasama din natin coming from the session hall.
Yes, from the North Wing. Kamustahin naman natin ang kaganapan doon with Kathy San Gabriel.
Yes, maraming salamat, Lucy. Handang-handa na ang lahat dito sa loob ng session hall ng Batasang Pambansa para State of the Nation Address ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III na bahagi ng pagbubukas ng 3rd regular session ng 15th Congress. Makikita nyo sa aking likuran ay isa-isa nang nagdadatingan ng mga panauhin dito sa North Wing. Inaasahang uupo ang pamilya ng Vice President Jejo Marbinay at maging ang mga spouses ng mga representante at mga senators. Inaasahang bibigkasin ng Pangulong Aquino sa ang kanyang SONA speech sa wikang Filipino gaya noong mga nakaraang taon. Ang speech ng Pangulo ay may 44 na pages at gaya rin ng dati, simple at walang gimmick ang magiging talumpati ng Pangulo. Tanging mga graphs at mga visual aids at video ang kalakip ng SONA speech para lubos na maintindihan ng taong bayan ang mga datos na babanggitin ng Pangulo. Dito sa loob ng session hall ng Batasang Pambansa ay may itinayong 4 na malalaking LCD screens para makita ng mga manonood ang mga graphical presentation na kasama sa talumpati ng Pangulo. Para naman sa mga foreign diplomats na dadalo, naglaan ng may 100 units ng headphones na magsisilbing translation aid para lubos nilang maunawaan ang speech ng Pangulo. Ito ay ang tinatawag na Simultaneous Interpretation System o SIS. Ang nagsilbing official translator ay si Communications Undersecretary Manuel Luis Quezon III. Inaasahan, Lucy, na 2,000 o mahigit pa ang dadalo ngayon dito sa loob ng Batasang Pambansa para manood sa SONA ng Pangulo. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
Yes, at kasama din natin, Lucy, from the Session Hall, South Wing Gallery, Robert Tan.
Maraming salamat, Attorney Mark. Nandito nga ako sa South Wing Gallery ng Batasang Pambansa. At unti-unti na nating nakita na dumarating ang ilang mga kongresista, senador, cabinet secretaries, mga miyembro ng diplomatic corps, mga VIPs, at inaasahan din natin na darating sina dating Pangulong Fidel V. Ramos at dating Pangulong Joseph Estrada. At ito nga ay mukhang excited na lahat na marinig ang report kay Boss, ang ikatlong SONA ni Pangulong Benigno Aquino III. Mamaya-mamaya ay kukunin natin ang mga expectations ng mga kongresista at VIP guests hinggil sa nalalapit na ikatlong SONA ni Pangulong Aquino, at dito rin nga patuloy pa rin ang preparasyon sa batasang pambansa sa pagdating ni Pangulong Aquino. At yan muna ang huling kaganapan dito sa South Wing Gallery. Balik sa iyo, Mark.
Maraming salamat, Robert Tan.
Okay, and live dito sa studio to give us naman an update on the state of our economy. I think Mark will be expecting a lot of good news.
Oh yes, oh yes.
And
Ito yung naging highlight itong the last few days, Lucy, yung
Yes.
laman ng balita. Napakaganda, napaka-positive.
And we are pleased to have with us in the studio NADA Director General Arsenio Balisacan and Peter Wallace, who's the Chairman and President of the Wallace Business Forum. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Lucy, I'd like to ask siguro si Mr. Wallace dahil siya ay parang hindi siya Pilipino but he has been observing the country this longest time. Sir, 6.4% in the first quarter of the year, several credit rating upgrades. Ano po ang ginawa or what did this administration do that created this economic climate na mukhang paganda?
It changed the emotion. It changed the emotion of businessmen. In the last years of Gloria, what I saw was a depression. Businessmen confident, not wanting to move forward. Today I see a reversal of that. I see a confidence that wasn't there before.
A confidence that wasn't there before.
An excitement that things are going to
Yes.
change, that they're going to improve. But when I say are going to, they haven't yet fully. The 6.4 in the first quarter was very promising, but its continuation through into the second and third quarters is less assured. There are a couple of factors in that first quarter that gave what could be an overly high rate. One of the most important being that imports were down by 2.6%. And in the calculation of GDP, imports takes away from exports and GDP. So if it's a negative, you get a double negative. It gives you an inflated number. Yeah? So the 6.4 was a bit inflated. So we'll have to see whether we've got a sustained growth at that level in the second quarter. But even if we haven't, we're still looking at over 5%. And that's far better than we've had in the past.
And that's what? Far better
Far
than what
better.
we ever had.
Forget the rubbish of 7.6 in 2010. That wasn't 7.6, it was 4.6. I could explain that one day. But the average during Gloria's time was about 4.5. The average during Ramos's time was about 4.5.
So this is a
now
very remarkable
we are getting
increase.
to a significant improvement.
Okay. And if things continue this way, we can actually look forward to further increase of how many percent for the next year?
Well, I think RC will agree with me. What we have to achieve is over 7% on a sustained basis if we're to get the inclusive growth that everybody talks about. We have to get 7% or more to be able to bring the poor into society.
Right.
And as RC and I were talking earlier, one of the key areas that must be developed is the industrial sector. We need to get manufacturing back into the Philippines because so many of our people don't have a good education.
Yes.
You can't put them into the service industry. So you can put them on a factory floor. We need to have the factories.
Right.
Right?
I'd like to ask though, Secretary Balisacan, just going back backtracking a little bit and talking about the credit rating upgrades.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace is saying na marami pa pong pwedeng gawin or hindi pa talaga tumutodo yung mga negosyante to invest on their optimism. Pero pag sinasabi po natin merong credit rating upgrade, para po maintindihan natin taong bayan, ano po ang tinitingnan ng mga ratings agency para bigyan tayo ng credit rating upgrade?
Marami. Pero ang numero uno doon yung outlook sa ekonomiya natin. Sa tingin natin nag-improve substantially yung confidence gaya ng sinasabi ni Peter kanina ng ating publiko, lalo na yung mga investors, no? Kasi nakikita naman ng gaano kaseryoso yung gobyerno natin ngayon sa pagtuwid sa mga bagay na nakakahadlang sa sa paglago ng negosyo, ng business. So yan ang mga saka yung mga madami nating problema sa paglago ng business, lalo ng infrastruktura, ina-address na natin ito. So yung upgrades na yun nagre-reflect lang ng expectations na the future outlooks of business is good, and that is reflected dun sa mga future earnings ng mga companies, and those prices are now reflected today.
Things are looking up nga, di ba pinagkakwentuhan natin, Mark? Things are looking up, but I think they feel it more on the macro level. They don't feel it yet on the micro level, and that's everybody's question. Kailan mararamdaman yun ng...
But that takes time, Lucy. That doesn't happen overnight.
Yes, exactly.
And one of the things that I think we need to concentrate on is that foreign investment has been very low.
Yes.
It's one of the lowest in Asia, right? So foreigners are not seeing the Philippines as an attractive place to invest. And I can't figure out why. And I've been in this business for 40 years. Because my clients and the others I know, the multinationals, their business does well here. The subsidiaries here do as well as, if not better, than their subsidiaries in other countries. So the reality is, you can make money in the Philippines. You can do well in the Philippines. So why is the perception that you can't? And we need to address that.
We need to change that.
Maganda po yung sinasabi niyang kumikita ang negosyo dito. Pero ang naririnig ng ating mga kababayan, Lucy, investing on tourism, investing on infrastructure.
Yes.
Siguro, pakikwento nga po, Sec, kung ano pong ginagawa ng ating gobyerno to specifically address that concern. Paano po natin mahihikayat yung foreign investors na magtayo, hindi lang ng ordinaryong negosyo, but yung mga manufacturing, hindi lamang BPO, but yung labor-intensive that can really give jobs?
Ang pinakamalaking problema natin dito sa bansa natin, yung number one, yung cost, sinasabi natin cost of doing business, na talagang mataas tayo dahil sa kakulangan natin sa infrastruktura, like sa roads, seaports, mga ganon, power. Ito ngayon ang tinututukan ng gobyerno. Of course, hindi overnight na masosolve ito kasi napakadami, napakalaki yung pera na kinakailangan sa mga... So, and then number two is yung mga institutions natin, kasi kapag malalaki mga investments, para yun ay papasok, kinakailangan may tiwala na mare-recover nila yan, investment nila in the long term. No? Pero ang institutions natin ay medyo tagilid, medyo mag-aalanganin, hindi papasok yung mga investors, kahit mga local natin hindi. So yun ang pinaka-basic na problema ng bansa. I think what the figures are now saying, and the confidence and the how the market is valuing our economy now, is that that confidence is returning, and we need to sustain that in the long term. Problema ng poverty natin is napakalaki, at nothing less than really massive employment creation ang kinakailangan para ma-feel maramdaman yung ano.
You know, I live in Alabang. It used to take me an hour or more to get to Makati. With the Skyway, it takes 15 minutes.
Yes.
Right.
It should take 15 minutes to get your product to the port as well. As RC rightly says, one of our biggest problems today is the lack of infrastructure.
Yes.
It is just too difficult to get the things you make out to the ports. And we've got an overcrowded Manila port, we've got an empty Subic, we've got an empty Batangas. Why aren't we using them?
Correct.
Factories in Cavite, why don't they go to Batangas, right? Because we need to develop that.
Mr. Wallace, what can the President say today? Anong pwede niya sabihin, Lucy? So the businessmen that you're saying who are ready to act on their optimism but are kind of holding back as yet, what can the President say today that will really get them moving?
That will entice them to, take a chance on us.
That's a difficult question. I think one of the most important things is that there's a continuity. That when there is change, it will be well considered, well thought out, generally beneficial as much as possible. One of the things that businessmen deters them the most is uncertainty. And one of the problems we've had in the Philippines over the years is that every change of administration, there's a change of policy, there's a change of laws, there's a change of direction. And businesses don't invest for 6 years, they invest for 50. So you don't want to have the risk of change coming with this administration, that administration, or this time or that time. The mining law, for example, right? A very good law, one of the best in the world. Not good enough. We have to have EO 79, an executive order. Why? the law was good enough, the implementation wasn't good enough. But EO 79 is a good executive order in the main, right? But there are some worries about it that are going to put off mining for some time. We're going to see mining come to sort of a slowdown, if not a halt, for the next year or two, because now you have the uncertainty of how much tax are we going to pay. And until you know that, you can't invest.
Well, speaking of continuity and longevity of programs
Sustainability.
and sustainability of programs, malaking factor siguro dun, Lucy, yung burokrasya mismo eh. Yung paano nagre-respond yung burokrasya, yung liderato ni Pangulong Aquino, paano niya napapalakas yung burokrasya ng ating mga departamento.
Pero Mark, alam mo, I think the people can see really that there is a synergistic and consolidated effort from all these government agencies, especially with the DPWH.
Correct.
They're addressing the need for
Well,
more
let's ask our
infrastructure.
representative of a department. Ano kung, yung sa NED, at least as far as NED is concerned, how are the people in the bureaucracy reacting to this kind of leadership at itong sa overall optimistic atmosphere?
I think napakalaki yung changes sa bureaucracy, no? When it comes to really being accountable, transparent. I think yung leadership na leadership results. I think that's really getting into the bureaucracy, and I can see, I've been there in government for less than 3 months, but I can see tremendous difference in what I know about the bureaucracy then and what I am seeing now. And so it has really changed the culture of delivering services in the bureaucracy. Apart from, of course, the corruption issue, which is being carefully and aggressively handled, addressed by the government. But balikan natin yung kanina.
That, to my mind, is one of the most positive aspects of the Philippines today. The president's single-minded attention to corruption. Right? People have complained that because of this he is not looking at other things, not concentrating on the economy, etc. I couldn't care less.
It is
Because we have to fix this one. You won't do it by doing many things all at once. You've got to concentrate on it the way he's done. And his success to date would be unbelievable, right?
Yes.
And is critical. The fact that the Chief Justice was impeached and was successfully removed was a critical turning point for the president. If he'd failed at that, he would have been a lackluster president for the next 3 years. He has now gained a strength to take him forward to clean up this government far more by 2016 than we could possibly have imagined.
Right.
And I think that's very possible.
He has sold
we should note also that while we are focusing on the short term, right, fixing our institutions, our medium term, like our mga infrastructure, I think one of the turning points also of this government is a heavy focus on human development, social development. Kasi ang tingin natin sa inclusive growth, yung the children of the poor today must have better options for themselves, must see better options for themselves. So as we are investing in education and health, this will not only promote the competitiveness of the country 10 years, 15 years down the road. So tinitingnan natin yung long term lang, hindi lang yung short term. But these children will be able to escape the poverty of their children, of their parents. Yan ang, I think sa akin, napaka-laking bagay na ginagawa ng gobyerno.
Pero yung nabanggit ni Mr. Wallace kanina, Lucy, before it used to take you over an hour to get to Alabang from Makati, now it's 15 minutes. Pero to get to the airport, to get to Subic, and there are parang underutilized facilities.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ano kaya yun? Meron na po bang plano? Meron na po bang pondo para pagandahin yung sistema nga to move goods quicker to the ports, to utilize existing facilities para hindi po tayo nag-underutilize tapos nabubugbog naman yung ibang facilities?
It's a matter of time na once you have got those infrastructure, itong lesson ng development na once you put those infrastructure, susunod yung uses of this infrastructure, movements of goods, mga businesses, provided na yung iba't ibang kinakailangan ng negosyo nandoon.
I think, RC, it's correct, isn't it? About 60% of the economy is in the GMA, the Greater Luzon area, right? And much of that is in the Cavite, Laguna area. And developing Batangas Port, for example, would greatly ease right, the traffic. But also, getting an expressway down through Cavite, very important, right? The expressway going all the way through there. I'd like it to go to Caliraya where I have a house too, but that's a separate thing.
Okay. Siguro just one quick, if there's one thing you want to hear from your boss today, Secretary, ano po yun?
Must have, we need to be more aggressive and really, and he's very aggressive in pushing more for rapid growth and human development. I think yung dalawang yan lang naman talaga ang kinakailangan for us to grow in a sustained basis.
Secretary Arsenio Balisacan and Mr. Peter Wallace, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, alam mo Mark, tinanong natin ang ating mga kababayan kung ano ang SONA mo dahil kasama sa pagbabago ang bawat Pilipino. Narito ang ilan sa mga natanggap nating komento sa president.gov.ph. This is from Nides Magkawas. As an OFW, ginagampanan ko ng maayos ang trabaho ko para makita ng mga banyaga ang galing at kakayanan nating mga Pinoy para sa tuwid na daan sa pangunguna ni Pinoy.
Wow. Nasa abroad yan.
Very good attitude, yeah. Ginampanan ko, this naman is from Wilma Maestre. Ginampanan ko ang SONA ko noon, ngayon, bukas at magpakailanman. Ang buhay ko sa bayan ko. And from Julian Samson, her SONA, share the love of Philippine history to my students. Work hard for family, study and continue my growth as an educator and Filipino citizen. That's very good.
Napaka-varied, ano? May OFW, may teacher.
You bloom where you're planted.
Oo.
Okay, Joseph, this is from Joseph Alejandro. Ang SONA ko, gumawa ng mabuti basta kaya ko. At kung di kaya, siguro susubukan na rin po. Mr. President, sana matuwa po kami pag napanood ang SONA nyo. Good luck po, Mr. Pinoy.
Napakaganda po talaga.
And Alvin Alcantara, I agree with this completely. Very simple, buy local, make it local.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yun ang sinasabi ni Mr. Wallace na sana gumanda yung manufacturing industry muli ng ating bansa at hindi tayo umaangkat-angkat na lang ng mga produkto. At Lucy, nagpapasalamat din tayo sa ilan sa ating sponsors na nagtumulong sa atin para ihatid sa inyo ng live itong SONA Coverage 2012. Nariyan po yung Social Security System, Bilib Kami sa iyo. Nandiyan din po yung Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, Pusong Pilipino, Pusong Panalo, Land Bank of the Philippines. Tuwid na daan, tungo sa kaunlaran, duty free. Go pasalubong shopping with a family at Duty Free Philippines. Development Bank of the Philippines, DBP, kaunlaran ng lahat at syempre PLDT. Maraming salamat sa ating mga sponsors. Ayan, at magbabalik po kami ni Lucy. Tuloy-tuloy po yung ating discussions with some of our guests. Napaka-positibo, napakasaya po ng atmosphere dito sa Batasang Pambansa. Tumutok po kayo, magbabalik po.
Report kay Boss, ang ikatlong SONA ng Pangulo ay hatid sa inyo ng Land Bank of the Philippines.
Ang pagkalinga sa kalikhasan ay katumbas ng pag-unlad ng bansa. Kaya ang DBP Forest Program ay tumutulong maibalik ang mga gubat at watershed areas sa Pilipinas. DBP, the Bank for the Environment.
Dakalpong salamat!
Damo na salamat.
Magsukulturan!
Agyamana kunay!
Salamat po!
Dahil sa inaalagaan mong numero, libo-libo rin ang naaalagaan ng PCSO. Kaya naman panay ang thank you nila sa iyo. PCSO, pusong Pilipino, pusong panalo.
Bilib kami sa iyo. Lahat ginagawa para sa pamilya mo. Pero paano ang benepisyo kung may overdue SSS loan ka? Sali na sa SSS Member Loan Penalty Condonation Program. Overdue loan kay dali ng bayaran. May bawas penalty pa para buo ang benepisyo para sa pamilya.